Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you
Can you
doing?
please state your name and spell your name for the court reporter?
Lieutenant David Giaccio, Giaccio,
And where are you currently stationed?
the Sully District Station,
Okay. And where were you prior to the Sully District Station?
the homicide unit.
Okay. And you were lieutenant there?
Yes,
Was that under, at one point, Deputy Chief Bruce?
yes.
Okay. Or actually, during the entire time you were there was under?
During the entirety of the time I was there.
Because he transferred as well, correct?
I'm sorry?
Because he had transferred around the same time you did.
Yeah, I think about a month before I arrived, he was there.
Okay. I am going to ask you to identify what has been marked and introduced as Defense Exhibit 88.
It's just been marked, not introduced, but.
Oh, sorry. I thought 88 was.
Oh, 88 is, you're right, 88 is evidence.
Do you recognize that?
It's an email.
Okay. And what's your role in this email?
Without context, it's hard to say. I think it has to do with an executive summary that I was having Detective Miller review.
Okay, so is that the executive summary right there? Was that the attachment?
I believe so.
Okay. Well, during that time frame, perhaps you can recall, during the time frame of November 8th, were you communicating with Sergeant Brian Ames then?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and you were communicating about the digital forensic executive summary?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, I think that's in evidence.
That's in
Can
evidence.
we publish that? Is it already?
It's already been published.
Okay,
If it's in
thank you.
evidence, we publish it.
Sir, I'm going to have you look at what has been marked as and moved into evidence as number 89. Does that give you more context in identifying it?
Yes, I believe this was after the co-defendant in this case came in for a proffer. And those attachments or links, I guess would be the better term, at the bottom are links to the attachment or to the body-worn camera that was used to record that proffer. There were two parts.
Okay, and in this instance, you went to Brian Ames with the two proffers, correct?
That's correct.
And was there a phone call that went along this? Where did he get his direction from?
I don't recall. I think we talked, I don't remember if it was a phone call or an in-person conversation, but after the proffer, we had a conversation about some of the forensic reports and the need to revisit them.
Okay, and the need to change them, correct?
No, sir.
Okay. Was there an attempt to update, sorry, I'll leave that there so you can see it. Was there an attempt to update the digital forensics based on the proffers that you sent?
So we had a meeting, I think it was after these emails, there was a meeting set up with Sergeant Ames and the two Brendan Millers. They names are slightly different, but they work in the same unit to go over the basically all the digital forensics and to understand why they came to certain conclusions previously and understand how the evidence was correctly, how would have been correctly analyzed.
Okay, and that was entirely based upon the proffer of Juliana Perez Magalhaes?
I think it was partially based on it. I think there was some question about the analysis from the leadership, both me and above me, prior to that.
Or are you talking about Deputy Chief Bruce?
Yeah, he would be one of the people, yes.
Okay, and so, well, I guess, so what you're saying is that you analyzed the digital forensics and you arrived at a different conclusion than your expert?
So I reviewed the data, and I think the data is what the data is. I think the context and how you analyze what it may mean is different.
Okay, and so you were looking at the more the conclusions?
I would say the logic used to arrive at certain conclusions.
Okay. And this is with Brendan Miller's report,
Correct.
the executive summary?
That's one of them, yeah.
Okay. And did you ever talk to Brendan Miller and have him show his work?
Yes,
How many times did you do that?
several.
Okay. And when you were doing that, were you trying to get him to change?
Not the data, the analysis.
Okay.
And I wouldn't say change, I would say to understand what I was seeing.
Okay. Are you aware of this email?
What number is this?
This is actually, 90.
90,
And
so
it's
it is
been
evidence.
introduced, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm not aware of this email, no.
Okay. I think it might have been the day before.
Well, yeah, some of it, obviously, the one I sent, I'm aware of. The one at the top, I assumed is what you were speaking about. I'm not aware of that one.
Okay. And is it accurate in terms of how he characterizes it?
Judge, the witness just indicated he's not aware of the document.
He's aware of the bottom part, I think is what he said. So if you want to direct your questions to that.
Well, I think I can ask him questions, Judge, about whether the body of it is accurate, whether it's being communicated properly.
What, if he recognizes it? He said he didn't recognize it, so I'll sustain that objection.
Do you recognize the content of what's being sent?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
The body of?
I mean, I can read it,
Sergeant
if that's what
Ames?
you're, I can read it and
Does
understand it.
that sound like what you said to him?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify what has been, or look at what has been identified as Defense Exhibit 90.
No,
Nope.
Oh, sorry,
this-
91.
This is 91, which is
Yes,
not in
91,
evidence.
Sorry. So I'd be most interested in you looking at this area down here. Is that something that you created?
I wrote that email, yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, I move this in as Defense
91.
Exhibit 91.
Any objection?
I can have the court's indulgence for 1
Yes,
second.
ma'am.
No objection.
All right, 91 in evidence. Publish it, or it goes away.
Now, I'm going to go through a series of communications where it's multiple people. And so what I'm going to ask you is whether or not you recognize the communication and whether you're involved in the communication.
Okay.
Okay? So this would be exhibit number 92. Do you see that?
Yes.
And does that look like the communication that you were involved with?
Yes, I believe the blue bubbles are mine.
Okay. We still don't have the third person, so I'm just going to identify that, Judge. and
That's still 92.
92. Sir, do you recognize that text message chain?
I do.
And are you involved in that?
That's my, in blue as well.
I'm sorry, in the blue?
The blue is my text, yes.
Thank you. Do you recognize that message? That would be Exhibit 93.
It's Exhibit 94.
This is 94.
94. I apologize, Judge. 94.
Yes,
Okay, and that's a communication that you remember?
I do.
And it looks as though it's Patrick Bruch is one, and who's the other one?
Sally Fayez?
Okay, and Sally Fayez is, what's her position within,
She's the director of the Victim Services Department or
Okay.
unit.
is she are you a direct report for her?
I'm not sure what you're,
Am I speaking in, is she or do you directly report to her?
no, I never have.
Okay. Who did you directly report to while you were in homicide?
Well, I had, I guess, Captain John Bobel, Major Dan Spital, and Deputy Chief Patrick Bruch.
Okay. Did you have any privilege to report directly to Patrick Bruch when he was the deputy chief?
For the purpose of this case, he was my primary report.
Okay, so it would just be the two of you communicating, much like these messages?
I mean, the other commanders were part of it, but he was the primary person that I reported to.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to identify if you are involved in this, if you are involved in this, which is a Defense Exhibit 96, 95.
95.
Yes, I believe that's my text in blue as well.
Okay. And do you remember this day?
I believe that was the day after the arrest of the defendant.
Okay. Thank you. Sir, do you recognize this has been identified as Defense Exhibit 96?
97? We're on 96. No, we're just on 95.
96, right?
96,
Yes.
Do you recognize that?
I do.
And that's just a direct message between you and Patrick Bruch?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you remember the context of it based on looking at it?
That was on the eve of the preliminary hearing for the co-defendant.
Your Honor, I'd move this in as Defense Exhibit 96.
Any objection?
No objection.
96 in evidence and can be published.
And so you're in blue again, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Big Day, you're speaking of what you just said, which is the preliminary hearing?
Correct.
Okay, and you reference Clingan? Are you
Yes.
talking about Eric Clingan, the prosecutor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he was the prosecutor on this case back then, correct?
Yes, he was.
And what just describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what's the communication about?
Your Honor, if counsel is asking the witness to read it, I would object. It has not yet been moved into evidence.
He asked him what it's about, so I'll overrule the objection.
You can go ahead and answer.
It's about being nervous for the preliminary hearing.
Okay, and that's between you and Deputy Chief Bruch?
Correct.
Okay, were you directly involved in the preliminary hearing that day?
No.
Okay, and was that the day of the hearing?
I believe it's the evening before, the evening before.
Okay, the preliminary hearing was on April 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you involved in the preparation? Is that why you're privy to that?
Well, I was the supervisor. I'm sorry. Oh, closer. Sorry, it sounds loud to me. I'm sorry, can you repeat the questions?
Were you directly involved with the preparation for the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, I mean, I was the supervisor of the homicide unit.
Okay, but you didn't have any investigatory role in this?
No, in this case, I wasn't involved in any interviews. I didn't collect any evidence. I simply oversaw the investigation starting in, I think, early March 2024, so about 13 months after the murder.
Okay. Is it customary for lieutenants not to be involved in any of those things?
At the time, I was a sergeant, but yeah, I think that's fairly normal. The detectives do the investigating, the supervisor oversees it.
Would there be any other reasons why you couldn't prepare for the hearing?
No.
Were you on the Brady list at that time?
Objection is to relevance.
Overruled.
I'm not aware that anybody keeps a Brady list, but the Commonwealth has told me that they make certain disclosures about an investigation where I allowed an employee who had a brain tumor to stay home on light duty at the direction of a commander.
Okay. And so that was one instance when you were put on the Brady list. Have you been put on the Brady list on other occasions?
No.
Objection is to relevance.
Overruled, he answered no.
And the Brady list essentially, well, you tell me, what is the Brady list?
Well, like I said, I don't think there's a Brady list, but the Commonwealth makes disclosures based on opinions that they form about a case.
And the underlying finding is truthfulness, correct?
No.
Okay. Now, there's comment in here about catfishing. Was that a concern on March 30th, 2024, amongst you and Deputy Chief Bruce?
Was catfishing a
There's a
concern?
comment here. I'm just trying to get the context of that.
So based on the evidence, I think that after I reviewed it, it was about a month in, I believe that it was overwhelming that this was a catfish. I think the term has been used kind of across the board now. That was set up by the defendant, yes.
Okay, and after doing 1 month's worth of work as a lieutenant, you were able to arrive at that conclusion?
I was a sergeant at the time, but yes.
Okay, and describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what were your digital forensics qualifications in order to arrive at that conclusion?
Well, I reviewed sort of the evidence that was provided to me by the digital forensics people. You know, for instance, the accounts were created in January. They had never, you know, they were brand new accounts. That was unusual to me. We reviewed Christine's history. I think it went back to the mid-2000s. She had never so much as visited a porn site that we could find, so I thought that was...
I guess my question was about the digital forensics.
Well, I think reviewing her digital footprint, there was no evidence of that. There were 2 occasions where the co-defendants were out of town for 48 to 36 hours, and none of the accounts, the CB 920 at Gmail wasn't used, the FetLife account wasn't used, the Telegram account wasn't used. It seemed unusual to me that that wouldn't happen while they were out of the house.
So if I can, let me just redirect you back to digital forensics.
Well, this is all part of the digital evidence, right? So,
Not your opinion as to whether or not it's unusual if they're in or out of town.
Just want to
That's
ask, you ask your next question.
Yes. In terms of catfishing, that was a theory that you were pushing, correct?
that I was,
Pushing.
it's what I believe the evidence overwhelmingly supported, yes.
And you then attempted to educate the homicide detectives about that,
Objection,
correct?
leading.
All right, I'll stay in this lead.
What, if anything, did you do with the homicide detectives in order to convince them of your theory?
We reviewed the evidence many times between March and September. However, it wasn't until the co-defendant came into proffer that everybody was in agreement that the catfish was the actual correct
Okay, so once again, it was the co-defendant, not the digital forensics, that caused that conclusion, correct?
That's not my opinion, no.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any further questions on that. That's 96. Sir, I'm going to have you look at what will be marked as 98, Defense Exhibit 97.
No.
It's 97.
97?
It's 97, correct.
Do you see that, sir?
Yes,
Okay. And in that, this is between you and Deputy Chief Bruce, is that right?
it is.
Okay. And there's some concern about losing the probable cause hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So question for, Your Honor, I'd move that into evidence.
All right, any objection, 97?
Yes, Judge, our previous witness did not identify that as his information, so it stands as hearsay.
It's kind of a follow-on of 96, it just keeps going down, so I'll
I can-
rule the objection on
Thank you.
97 in evidence.
Is this communication with Patrick Bruce?
It is.
Okay. And in here, there's discussion about the prosecutor's plan, correct?
Yes.
And are you in the blue or the gray?
Blue.
Okay. And there's something about a fail-safe that's been put in place. What's that?
We had evidence that the co-defendant may have misrepresented things on her visa application, and I think Customs and Border Protection had planned to investigate that and potentially arrest her for it.
Okay, so if the preliminary hearing didn't go well, you wanted to get a hold of her immediately afterwards.
Correct.
So if the preliminary hearing hadn't gone well, just for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the case would have been dismissed,
Correct.
and then she would have been released.
Judge, counsel's testifying.
I'll stay as the leading.
Sir, what would have happened if the preliminary hearing had been dismissed?
The co-defendant would be released.
And so the fail-safe was to have Customs and Border Patrol there to grab her?
Correct.
Okay, so come to the jail before she's released.
I think they were planning on getting arrest warrants. I'm not fully read into what their plan was.
And was this a plan between you and then Deputy Chief Bruce, or was this a plan amongst everyone involved?
It was the detectives on the task force that was created set it up.
Okay, and so who else would have known about the fail-safe?
Detective Bryant, Detective Goodell, and Detective Smith, I think, was still pretty well involved at that point.
Was Detective Bryant the chief detective at that time?
He was the lead detective, yes.
Okay, and Detective Goodell was another co-lead detective?
Correct.
And was Detective Smith a lead detective, or she?
Yeah, so essentially when I arrived, Detective Bryant had been the lead for the first year or so. I think at some point prior to my arrival, Detective Smith had been assigned to help him. And then once I got there, I assigned Detective Goodell. So there was 3 detectives plus myself that were reviewing all the evidence.
Okay. Okay, did you say in a prior statement that as a lieutenant you wouldn't review all the evidence?
No, I would absolutely review the evidence. I wouldn't take part directly in the investigation. I didn't interview witness, collect evidence, or have any real direct involvement, just in reviewing and advocating for investigative leads.
And Your Honor, I'm sorry, 97 was moved into evidence?
97 is in
Okay,
evidence.
and that's, the jury has,
That's
it's
correct.
been published. Okay, thank you. Sir, can you see that communication?
Yes,
Is that the communication with Patrick Bruce?
yes,
And this is from November 8th, correct?
yes,
Okay, do you recognize this?
I do.
And you're in blue?
Correct.
You're going to move this in as Commonwealth's Exhibit number 98?
Judge, I'll renew the objection that former Deputy Chief Bruce could not identify this item.
On this one, he could not identify.
I think the witness just identified him.
All right.
Correct, but the witness indicates based on the document
I'm going to
itself.
sustain the objection since he testified that he did not recall it. So I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Sir, in the blue box, you indicate that you did something. What is that?
I used the words markup. Took a red pen. What I did was highlight in red
Okay.
on a document.
And did you actually take a pen?
No, it was the red. I changed the font to red rather than black.
Okay, and the document that you were referring to there, what document was that?
It was the executive summary prepared by Detective Miller.
Okay. Your Honor, may we approach on 98?
Sure.
Your Honor, if I may, I also had 106.
I had 106. I put
Yeah.
that on his.
Okay, and 107. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, do you identify what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 100?
Yes, it's a text message.
And that's between you and Patrick Bruce?
It is.
Are you in the blue box or the gray box?
Blue.
Okay, Your Honor, I'd move that into evidence as
No objection.
Got
Commonwealth's
100 in
Exhibit
evidence.
100.
And we'll publish.
So what, if anything, did you do when you were told to hold off on bringing Clingan and Kelsey into the loop?
I don't remember specifically, but I would imagine I held off on giving them a call.
Okay, and who, for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who's Clingan and who's Kelsey?
They were the prosecutors assigned at the time.
Okay, and do you recall when it was that you put them in the loop after this statement?
I'm sure within 24 hours. I don't recall
But you don't
exactly.
have any recollection?
No, I don't recall, but it was definitely not for any extended period of time.
Okay, and this looks like it was something that might jog your memory. It was relating to Celebrite Task Force. Do you have any recollection when it was that you would have told the prosecutors in this case, whatever the conclusion was?
Judge, I think that's a mischaracterization of the evidence.
If you want to rephrase your question.
Was the information that you're holding off on relating to the task force meeting at Cellbrite?
I believe it was the blood inside Juliana's shoes and on Brendan's pants.
Okay, and so how long did it take for you to communicate that to the prosecution team?
Like I said, I don't remember exactly, but it would be something that I would bring them up to speed on within a short period.
Okay, but you don't remember if you did?
I'm sorry?
But you don't remember if you did?
I certainly remember that they're aware of it. I just don't know exactly what that time frame was,
Okay.
but I would guess within 24 hours.
Thank you.
Mr. Carroll, would this be a good time to go ahead and take our
Okay.
lunch break?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll go ahead and take our lunch break for an hour. Please do not discuss the case with anybody and don't do any outside research, okay? Thank you.
We're going to do Saka at 1:30. So I'm going to
Prosecution or the defense at this time, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We'll be back. Let's go at 2:05, okay? 2:05. Thank you.
Court's recess until 2:05. Please be seated and come to order.
So are we ready for the jury?
Yes.
If we can approach,
Sure.
sorry.
All right. Are we ready for the jury then?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's wait. Mr. Carroll. Thank you. Bless you. Bless you. Great. Let's get the witness back on the stand. Sir, just a reminder, you're still under oath, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, your next question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Giaccio.
Could you move the microphone back towards yourself there?
Beg your pardon? Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Okay.
very good.
Lieutenant Giaccio, I'm going to ask you to look at what has been identified as Defense Exhibit 102. Do you recall that conversation and who it was with?
Yes, and it was with Deputy Chief Bruce.
Okay. And, Your Honor, if I'd move that into evidence?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Any objection?
No, ma'am.
All right, 102 in evidence.
Now, this, the date is significant for what reason?
I believe that's the date of the proffer.
Okay. And was the proffer occurring at that time?
It was later that evening.
Okay. And what time did the proffer start, do you know, in the evening?
I believe somewhere around 4 or 5 is when we began. I don't recall exactly, though. It was in the evening hours, though.
Were you in the room where the proffer was occurring or the room next door?
Next door,
Okay, and how were you linked up to the proffer?
by phone.
A phone was just left open and you could just listen to it?
Correct.
Okay. Was there not enough room in the area where the proffer was occurring?
It's a relatively small conference room, but it was a decision of the Commonwealth Attorney who was in there.
Okay, who was the Commonwealth Attorney?
That was Mr. Clingan at the time.
Okay, and was the decision that you would be out?
Yes.
Or there wasn't enough room?
I can't speak to what his mindset was. I mean,
Told you you're out.
correct.
Okay. Now, I think we have a previous exhibit where it was requested that you hold back information from Clingan and Kelsey Gill. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Was that around the same time frame as this?
I don't know. If you could show me the exhibit, I
Let me
can tell
see
you.
if I can
Yeah.
get the exhibit for you. Exhibit 100.
It looks like that was in June, middle of June 12th.
Okay. Did it ever come to light that you were holding back information from the Commonwealth Attorney?
We weren't holding back information. It was simply to allow time for, I think, Deputy Chief Bruce to notify up the chain of command.
Oh, okay, so is that reflected here in this message?
No, but that wasn't unusual.
Okay. Was there some reason that Deputy Chief Bruce or you, if you can answer, didn't want to include the prosecutors in this case?
We always included the prosecutors, but there was a major piece or a major change, then I would notify Deputy Chief Bruce and he would notify it up the chain to the Chief of Police. And we wanted to allow time for him to be aware of it on our side so that he would hear from it from us rather than from the Commonwealth Attorney's office.
Okay, so looking at this exhibit that's been introduced into evidence, was the meeting with Cellbright a major change?
I think that what he's referring to is the blood evidence, not the meeting with Cellbright.
Okay, because Cellbright doesn't have anything to do with blood, correct?
No, that's digital evidence.
Okay, I'm just following my questions up on your statement saying whenever there are major changes, we might delay so he can go up the command staff chain before telling anyone else. So what I'm asking about is in this one, is Cellbright a major change?
Judge, I'm going to object. I think objection is to form. Mr. Carroll is misreading the information. There was no meeting with Cellbright. The statement is meeting with task force after Cellbright.
All right, also
Fair
stands to
enough.
form.
You testified that traditionally Deputy Chief Bruce would say, hold off, so he could send it up the flagpole, essentially, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But I think you're confusing what information. The information is the blood information that he's asking me to hold off on is the way I understand it.
Well, yeah,
The
that's.
Cellbright has nothing to do with the later statement.
And where does it say that?
Well, I'm saying that.
Okay. And so that would be, what you've just testified to was that this would happen when there were major changes so that everyone and staff could know and be able to answer questions by the press and things like that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in this case, what I'm saying is, what is the major change in the case that would cause there to be some delay in talking to the prosecutors?
The blood evidence. So Christine's blood inside Juliana's shoes and on Brendan's pants.
Okay.
That was new information, so that was something that I considered significant.
Okay, you sent that on. And then, so you remember that moment?
Well, yeah, I mean, I remember sending the text, yes.
But do you remember as you're reading this text, what the context of it was?
Yes, we got a lab sheet back that contained new blood information, and I notified my chain of command.
And so what about that would not directly relate to information the prosecutors need?
I'm not really following what you're trying to ask.
Okay, I'm trying to understand why there's any need to hold back evidence from the prosecutors.
There was no holding back evidence. It was merely giving time for it to get up our chain before the notification was made to the prosecutor's office.
Okay, and you don't know specifically what that time was?
I think I testified earlier, it was no longer than 24 hours. It was either later that evening or the following day.
Okay, but we're now talking about this major event of the blood evidence that's referenced here, and that doesn't tell you any different?
Objection leading, counsel's testifying.
Is leading.
Now that we're identifying what it is that was the major evidence break, do you remember why you were holding back and when you ultimately gave them the information?
Again, Judge Aston answered. He has testified that he does not recall specifically when he shared the information, but he knows that it would have been within 24 hours.
I think that was previously, Judge, when we weren't talking about the major event, which is what he just testified to.
All right, I'll overrule. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you repeat them?
So what was it about this major event with, I guess, a lab sheet coming back that caused you to hold it back from the prosecutors? And then my question is, if it's a major event, wouldn't you have an idea of how long you're holding it back from the prosecutors?
I wouldn't say major. It's a significant thing that we get a lab sheet in that shows blood evidence. There's no holding back. The evidence was all provided to the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, but we allow time when we get some kind of information for it to go up the chain of command so that they're all aware of it, so that they can, if the Commonwealth Attorney's Office calls over to somebody higher ranking, that they can speak educated about it.
So is that a policy?
I mean, it's just how we do business. There's not a policy.
But I mean, somebody has to determine it's major, and somebody has to then make the decision whether it gets held up.
I think it would go to my discretion whether it's something I'm going to notify my chain of command, and they're going to tell me sometimes they're not, it's not significant enough that they would hold it back. Or perhaps, if it was a phone call and the deputy chief was with the chief or the assistant chief, they could relay it immediately. In this case, I'm assuming that the deputy chief didn't have immediate access and was waiting for some reasonable amount of time so that he could make that notification prior to bringing the Commonwealth Attorney into the loop.
How many times in this case did you find yourself speaking to Deputy Chief Bruce at the time about holding back evidence from the prosecutors?
Again, we're not holding anything back. We're making notifications and then notifying the Commonwealth Attorney.
Well, couldn't it also be done as telling them, hey, we haven't made notifications, keep this under your...
Objection leading.
Sustain.
Weren't there other ways to do that with involving the Commonwealth Attorney's Office?
Well, they were involved.
Not if it was being held back.
Objection argumentative.
I'll sustain the objection.
You just testified that they weren't involved because you were holding back.
Objection leading.
Sustain the objection.
Okay. Let's go back to exhibit number 102. This was it looks like the entire chain was October 25th, which is I think you had previously said was the day that Juliana Perez Magalhães recanted?
Yes.
Okay. And it looks as though, and Your Honor, I'm sorry, have I moved this into evidence yet?
Yes, that's already been.
Okay,
evidenced.
okay. And you're the blue bubbles there, correct?
Correct.
And I guess the offer hasn't been made yet, but you have the offer there, or has it already been accepted?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm aware of the offer. I don't know if it had been accepted yet, I guess is what I don't know the answer to
And
that.
who would have been involved with that process?
The Commonwealth Attorney's Office.
And do you know who made the offer?
I believe it was Mr. Clingan.
Okay, did you talk to him before that
I talked to him.
about the offer?
Yeah, there was discussions throughout the case about a potential offer.
Okay, when was the first time that an offer was made in your recollection?
I don't know.
Could it have been around January 1st? of
Objection
2020?
leading.
How long were offers going on as far as you knew?
I don't know.
Were you privy to all offers that were made?
I don't know.
Do you know of any other offers other than this one being made to her?
I believe there were others. Don't know the ins and outs of them.
Okay. And would that be because of your capacity as a lieutenant in homicide?
Well, the police department investigates and the prosecutor's office prosecutes, so they make those prosecutorial decisions, and I'm not always privy to them.
Okay. How many offers were you privy to?
I know that there were other offers made. I couldn't tell you if it was more than one. I just know that there was discussion that there were previous offers.
Okay. And in the context of the calendar year and the big events of that calendar year of 24, were there offers made before Brendan was arrested?
I believe so, but I wouldn't know the details of that.
Okay. Were there offers made before the preliminary hearing that was a cause for concern for the fail-safe?
I believe so, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. That was a pretty big event, though, wasn't it?
The preliminary hearing? Yes.
And that was something that really stood out in your mind?
Objection leading.
All right,
Is that something that stood out in your mind?
I mean, it was the first, with my involvement in the case, it was the first sort of major milestone, I would say.
Okay. At any point, did you hear of an offer of a misdemeanor for her testimony?
Not that I'm aware of. Or not that I remember, I guess would be the more appropriate answer.
And I was just going to follow up. There may have been, but you don't know.
I just don't know.
Okay. Now, were you involved in any way in your capacity, either directing or performing review of jail calls?
I listen to them regularly, yes.
Okay, and you were listening to them.
Objection leading.
Were you listening to them when Juliana had been arrested and was in jail and Brendan was out?
I don't recall when I started, but I believe it was before. I at least listened to some. I listened to more after.
Okay, but you were the command staff person. Was there someone assigned to listen to calls all the time?
Yes.
And what was the reasoning for that?
Well, part of it was that with Juliana, she spoke in Portuguese, so we had a Portuguese-speaking police officer that listened.
Okay, was that who was assigned?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the goal of listening to her jail calls?
To gather evidence.
Okay, and was there ever any discussion amongst your group about the pressure that was applied to her relating to her being incarcerated?
Yes.
Okay, and was that something that was favorable for what your goals were?
That she had pressure because she was incarcerated?
Yes.
I mean, potentially.
Okay. Were there, in listening to all those calls and having them translated, when you listened to the ones in English, were you concerned about her mental health?
There were times where the officer who was listening had concerns, and we relayed those to the sheriff's department.
Okay. Were there times that you were concerned about her talking about the meetings that she had been with the police in the Commonwealth's office?
I don't recall any concerns about that, no.
Okay, so you didn't hear any calls where she was telling somebody what's going on?
Objection leading.
Sustained.
Did you hear any calls like that?
Like what?
Recounting what the offers were or talking about the case after talking to the police?
Not that I recall specifically.
Okay. And so how often did you find yourself as a supervisor listening to those calls?
If I had free time, I tried to listen.
Was the Portuguese officer that was monitoring them, was it just on the Portuguese calls?
I think he checked all the calls and he summarized them. So from time to time, he would, send a note if he thought something might be worthy of the detective or somebody on the task force giving it a listen to see what context it had.
And what kind of things were said?
I couldn't specifically tell you. I would have to go through emails.
So it would be something that would be beneficial to the case? from your
Objection leading.
perspective. Would it be something that would be beneficial to your case?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, anything that he thought was unusual or stood out to him, he would pass on. He wasn't directly involved in the investigation, and hadn't reviewed the whole investigation, so sometimes he didn't really know what something might mean. He would
Okay.
forward it on.
In assigning him, did you or anyone give him parameters on what you're interested in?
He was assigned before I got there.
Okay. Did you ever educate him when you got in there, what you wanted?
No, I don't think there was, like I said, he was there and had been doing that for some time before I arrived.
Now, when you arrived, what were you told to do when you arrived?
My job was to be the homicide supervisor. Also, I was asked to review this case and other open cases.
And were you told to close this case?
Well, of course, that's the goal for any open case.
Specifically this case?
Yes.
Okay. Were you told to clean house in homicide?
If necessary.
Did you ever say, or what, if anything, did you say about cleaning house of the existing homicide detectives?
I think I told all of them when I first got there that was not my goal. I hope to keep everybody who was there.
Okay. And did people leave?
Yes.
Okay, and how many people left the homicide squad?
During my time there, 5 were promoted to sergeant. I think they're all back in the Major Crimes Bureau now, and 1 was transferred out.
Okay. And who was that one?
That was Detective Bryant, or I'm sorry, 2. The Detective Bryant and Detective Hanging were transferred out.
Okay. Now, did you have any control over Detective Miller being transferred?
No.
Were you aware of Deputy Chief Bruce at the time saying that he was no longer working on any major crime bureau cases?
Yes.
Okay. And were you aware of any?
I'm sorry.
You okay? Were you aware of any proceedings for transfer for Detective Miller?
No.
Okay, so you had no say in that?
No.
Okay. Or were your discussions with Deputy Chief Bruce informing him as to his decision to transfer?
I mean, we discussed it, but that wouldn't be, it's not even our bureau at that point, so I would have no real input.
Okay. Now, Detective Bryant, he was transferred,
He was.
and that was, I guess, was the decision around the time of October 25th, which is,
I think he was transferred in January.
okay, but the decision, when was that made?
Shortly, I mean, probably in January, maybe late December.
Was the reason for his transfer the October 25th?
Objection leading.
What, if anything, did the October 25th recant and the time leading up to it, what, if anything, did that do to hasten his transfer?
I think once Juliana came in proffered and provided more context to the evidence, everybody agreed that the evidence was overwhelming and that they had missed the mark, and he was the lead, so that's what ultimately was what caused him to be transferred.
So he was transferred because he didn't get it done. You needed Juliana.
Objection leading.
Sustained deleting?
So am I to understand it was because of
Judge,
Juliana?
that's still leading.
I don't know what the question is, but go ahead.
Were there any other factors that were considered other than what you just testified to as to Detective Bryant's transfer?
When he became aware of the proffer, it was 5 days before he passed that information up the chain of command, so that also played in.
Okay. And his leaving, was that, how was that characterized?
It was a transfer?
Okay. Was it related to discipline because he didn't notify command staff?
No, it was a lateral transfer.
Was that the circumstance of performance management that was talked about last summer?
Yeah, I would say that's
Okay.
the term used.
What is performance management?
Well, if somebody isn't performing at a level that you would expect for the position they're in, you might move them to another unit to gain further experience. And that's what happened in this case.
And he's now in digital forensics. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Was that where he was transferred from homicide to digital forensics?
No, he went to sex crimes, also in the Major Crimes Bureau.
Okay, so sex crimes and then now digital forensics?
That's my understanding. I don't have any knowledge of that transfer.
You haven't
I
kept
wasn't
track
involved in
of
it, no.
Anything like that? Now, he was the lead detective on this case from the beginning, correct?
Yes,
From that day on February 24th.
that's my understanding, yes.
And Brendan Miller was the lead digital forensics person from the beginning of the case, correct?
Yes,
And he was the only one that worked on extracting the 60 devices and things like that, is that right?
I believe so. There's two Brendan Millers. I think they may have helped each other out at points, but so I'm not 100% on that. But I believe the Brendan Miller you're speaking of was the lead.
Is that the one that is sitting in the court right now?
Yes.
Okay. And so that, we're talking about the same person.
Yes.
And he was also transferred during that time, correct? Within a month, couple months.
I don't recall the exact time he was transferred.
Okay, but it was soon after the proffer and
Yes.
and the back and forth in terms of the emails with Sergeant Ames.
Correct. It was right around that time. So
Okay.
if you put that exhibit up, I could give you a better ballpark.
If I said November 7th, November 8th, would you believe me?
If you're representing that that's what it says, then I will accept that.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
And so, now I know you weren't in homicide for long, right?
About 11 months.
11 months. And that was before you were transferred.
Correct.
And prior to that, were you ever in homicide as an investigator?
I was not in homicide, but I've been an investigator for most of my career,
Okay.
or supervised investigations.
And your career as an investigator was in narcotics, correct?
Primarily, before I came to the police department, I did fraud investigations as well,
Okay, with another police department?
with a private insurance company or insurance agency.
Oh, okay. But in terms of your experience, police experience, you hadn't had any homicide experience up until you got there on March 2024.
Only peripherally. A lot of homicides relate to narcotics, so from time to time, we would be involved in that aspect.
But you're never the lead detective or anything like that.
No.
Now, in your experience, does it seem odd that the chief detective?
Objection leading.
I don't know what the question is, so if you want to continue your question, I can't rule out
Does it
yet.
seem odd that the chief detective of this homicide case and the chief digital forensic examiner were transferred around the same time?
No.
Have you ever seen a case where the lead investigator is transferred and another lead investigator is transferred prior to it coming to court?
The lead investigator transferred? Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time, I think.
In homicide?
In any case, I think there's plenty of homicide cases where they've come to trial and the homicide detective has moved on through promotion or to another unit prior to the trial. That's pretty normal.
Well, there's a distinction in the way you said that. I'm talking.
Objection, counsel's testifying.
Let me ask you a different question. If the case is getting to the point where it hasn't gone to trial and a homicide detective is moving, that's different than what you just testified to, right?
Objection leading.
No, overruled, I'll allow it.
I think that's exactly what I just testified to. Sometimes there's an arrest, there's a transfer, and then there's a trial.
Okay. I think, I don't want to quibble with you about it, but I think you had said once the case has gone to trial, then the person transferred.
No, if that's what came out, that's not what I intended. I don't think.
Perhaps I misunderstood.
Yeah, I think it's relatively normal for a homicide detective to leave the unit, whether it be for transfer or promotion, and then still see the case through to trial.
Okay. And when you were transferred, did you have any additional duties with regard to this case
No,
beyond what you had as a watch commander?
not really. I mean, I provided what I had and moved on to my new assignment.
You gave your one drive and then moved on?
For the most part. Obviously, I've been here to testify a
Right.
couple times here with you.
So other than being subpoenaed, you're,
No, I didn't have any more investigative responsibility with the case.
Are you aware of whether or not Deputy Chief Bruce, then Deputy Chief Bruce, now Mr. Bruce, has played any role in this investigation since he was transferred to the Administrative Support Bureau up until he left the?
I'm not aware.
Okay. Are you aware of any duties that Kyle Bryant, who was the chief homicide detective, what duties he's had since he was transferred?
My understanding is he remains the lead. He remained the lead when I left, to put it that way.
Okay, so he was actually still involved in certain things, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Was that while you were still there, or did that happen after you left?
Well, he was transferred when I was still there, but my understanding is he's remained the lead, and if that changed, that would be news to me.
Was that in talking to him?
In talk about.
Is that how you learned that? You spoke to?
Well, I was still the supervisor, and I think I told him that he will remain the lead.
Okay. And he carried out his duties as he was supposed to, as far as you know?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And then with regard to Brendan Miller, do you know whether or not he had any responsibilities or obligations with this case?
I don't
After
know.
he was transferred?
That I don't know. I would assume so since he was the lead, but I don't know the answer.
Okay. And in any of the communications about transfer, you weren't privy to that?
So right when he was transferred, there was a couple weeks where we talked about reviewing and he was going through the evidence. Beyond that, I don't know.
Okay. You didn't keep track of it?
No.
There probably wasn't any reason to keep track of it, right?
Right, I moved to a new command.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm sorry, 102 has been moved into evidence?
102 is in evidence.
Okay. Now, were you when you were speaking to the victim's family, you indicate that you're on a call with the Joseph Ryan's family?
Judge, can we identify the exhibit?
Which exhibit?
I don't know what we're looking at. I'm sorry.
Is it still
Can you-
102, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's written on the bottom right corner.
I can't do that.
So were you the main contact for the Ryan family and the Banfield family?
No.
Okay. What was the phone call about?
I think that was filling them in. Well, I don't know. It may have been to fill them in that the proffer was coming, but I don't recall. Looks like it was right before, so I would imagine, but it wasn't a phone call that I set up or led.
Okay, would that be under your umbrella, I guess, or would that be victim services?
I think that was in concert with victim services.
Okay, and so in concert, meaning you were on the phone with someone from victim services?
Yes, I wouldn't have made that call without victim services, but to the best of my recollection, I believe I was just a silent observer in that call.
Who else was on there?
I don't know. I believe that, I don't want to misspeak, I'm not sure.
Okay, I mean, how many times did you talk to the victim's family with someone from victim services?
At each of the hearings, I mean, if they were in town, we always tried to be in the room, or if there was an update, we would update them.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, was this a phone call?
I believe it's a phone call.
Okay. And so would you oftentimes call the Ryan family or the Banfield family part of your?
Primarily, it would be in-person meetings when they were in town.
Okay. And this call would stand out as not being the usual contact?
I don't remember specifically the call. Based on the date, I would imagine that it was to notify them of the proffer.
can you see what's on your screen?
Yes.
And have you reviewed that?
What number is that?
Sorry, Defense Exhibit 103.
103, thank you.
Yes.
Do you know when that text occurred?
I believe that was during the proffer.
Okay, so you were in the adjacent room,
Correct.
and you were, well, you tell me, who are you texting with?
Deputy Chief Bruce.
Okay, and you're going to move that in as
All right, any objection to 103?
No, ma'am.
103
Defense Exhibit 103?
Publish.
So let's go through this. It's tough to see what's under the banner there. Do you know what you wrote?
I think it says no real response yet. I did let Clingan know.
Okay, and you think, and you said this is while it's going on?
Correct.
So were you communicating via text with Clingan at the same time you were communicating with Patrick Bruce?
So we had a group thread for questions, and then I was communicating with Deputy Chief Bruce as well.
Okay. Who was on the group thread that you're talking about?
I believe it was Mr. Clingan, Detective Goodell, Detective Bryant, and Ms. Sprisler.
Was Detective Miller on there?
No.
Was there anybody on there that had expertise in digital forensics when those
No.
questions were being asked? Was he still in his position at the time this took place?
Yes.
And was there any reason why he would have been excluded as the expert?
So for the investigative and interview stuff like that, it would be the homicide unit, and then we shared that video later with him.
Okay, but was there any benefit to having his perspective, like it would any other part of the agency that did some investigation?
I mean, I think there's a number of people you can have, that are present. So we made it the task force and provided that recording to everybody else afterwards.
Okay, but there would have been room because there was an ante room that you were in.
Sure, there would have been room.
Okay, and so who made the decision to exclude Detective Miller?
Mr. Clingan determined who was going to be there.
Okay, that's different from my question. You just answered my question by saying he determined who was going to be there. Was there anybody who excluded Detective Miller?
Mr. Clingan, I guess. I mean, he determined who was going to be invited.
And okay,
So I imagine the converse would be true.
so because he wasn't there, it had to have been Eric Clingan.
Objection, counsel's testifying, and I think that would be a mischaracterization of the defendant's, or I'm sorry, the witness's statement.
Sustain the objection. Next question.
I don't want to mischaracterize. Tell me what you were just saying about who was invited and who wasn't.
Mr. Clingan, I believe in concert with Ms. Sprisler from the prosecution team, determined who and where this would occur and who would be invited
Okay.
or excluded.
Now, it looks like there's additional back and forth chat. What's that about?
It's about the, has been characterized, the catfish theory.
And does that highlight the dispute as to who believed in it and who didn't?
I think that's fair, yeah.
And is that why you said you were looking for an apology?
Yes, I think we had back and forth. I advocated strongly that I didn't believe that Christine had set up or sent any of those messages. That wasn't the theory that went forward until Juliana came in and told the truth.
So this is a celebration of you being right.
I don't know if I would call it a celebration, but it's a realization. Confirmation.
And then it looks as though everybody's telling everybody how great they were. Is that
Objection leading.
Sustained deleting?
What's the rest of it about?
I think it's just acknowledging that we had gotten it right, and that now everybody was on the same page, and that nobody believed that we were not right.
Okay. And so you arrived at the determination that you were right because Juliana Perez Magalhaes told the story.
Yeah, I think she filled in the blanks, but by and large, what she said was consistent with what I believe the evidence showed pretty much within my first 30 days of being involved in the case.
Okay, so were you aware that it was 2 weeks before trial when this proffer occurred?
Yes.
Okay. And was it your position that you needed her to testify against Brendan in this case?
I thought it would be helpful, but I don't think it was necessary based on the evidence.
Yeah, I know.
And your opposition to Detective Miller's executive summary was based on her testimony, correct? No, I opposed it from pretty early on, but I think it was confirmation. It gave context to a lot of the things that were in there. Okay. And it was at that point that you worked through his chain of command, Sergeant Ames, to get him to change the executive summary, correct?
I never asked him to change anything. I asked him to review it, be able to explain why he arrived at the conclusions that he had, and to be able to explain why he doesn't believe that to be the case anymore. And my understanding is that's what he did.
Not with you?
Not with me, no.
Okay. Did you ever go and ask him what his original position was?
I think it's well documented in his summaries. I mean,
No,
we
I'm
discussed
sorry.
it.
That was an inartful question. Did you ever ask him to go through like a math problem and show your work as to how he arrived at those conclusions?
Yeah, we looked at it time and time again.
Okay, but I mean, I'm talking about a comprehensive explanation based on his expertise that arrives at his, did you ever do that?
Judge, I'm going to object, asked and answered, not just now, but earlier, prior to the break.
Sustained. Next question.
When you say you talked about it from time to time, is that a comprehensive review of his work?
I mean, we spent a lot of hours in his lab, yes.
Okay, and were you questioning him?
I mean, we discussed all the things. There was something in the digital side that I didn't understand. I would ask him to explain to me what he felt that it meant.
Okay, so at least one aspect of whatever you didn't understand, you would ask for his explanations. I guess what I'm asking is, did there ever come a time when you had him explain his entire report?
Probably not all at once. Obviously, it was, there was extensive evidence, but we went through the significant a significant chunk of it in his lab, yes.
Now, just specifically with regard to the executive summary, when did you recall, when did he complete it and when did you see it?
He completed it prior to my arrival, so I saw it, sometime probably in that first 30 days in March of 24.
Okay, and at any point did you agree with it?
I think in the first bit, I just took it all in. I tried to take in all the evidence. I spoke with a number of detectives and sort of got their impressions, and then I reviewed it, and then I had questions about the analysis. I think part of the issue is it was not the data that I had issue with, it was the interpretation.
Okay. You mean the statements surrounding the data, the findings?
For instance, he attributes things to people rather than devices.
Okay. And is that something in your digital forensic experience that's not best practices?
I think it's difficult to say who's holding a device if you don't have a lot of context.
I think that's, isn't that why digital forensics is what it is?
Well, they extract data and look and tell you what's going on, and I think probably some of his analysis went outside the bounds of what he would normally do.
And did you ever directly address him about that statement you just made?
Yeah, we discussed it, and I think he agrees
You think he agrees?
that it was beyond what he normally does, yes.
Okay. Were you aware of the peer review of his executive summary and files?
So there was stuff sent down to University of Alabama, I believe. My understanding was that they were trying to do a deeper dive into certain devices and see if they could pull more information than perhaps Fairfax County has the ability to pull.
Were they able to do that? Do you know?
I don't think they really got much further than he did.
Were you aware that they concurred in his findings?
My understanding is that they concurred that he extracted the things properly and that the data was correct.
Did that peer review change anything in terms of your position as to the executive summary?
I'm sorry, I lost you. Can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry.
It's hard to hear up here, I'm sorry.
Did the peer review change your thought process as to the executive summary that he had created?
I think it gave me confidence in the data, but it didn't affect the analysis part of it.
Okay. And so perhaps I've asked you this. What was your experience in the analysis of digital forensics?
Well, you're looking at what the data is. I've been an investigator for almost 2 decades, so I've looked at lots of data and developed theories or trends, stuff like that.
But can't anyone do that?
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained. Next question.
Would that be difficult for anyone else to do?
I don't think so. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in investigations and putting things together, and you look at, patterns of life and how people act and how humans behave, and this is just more data points to look into.
Now, and that's what, is that what differentiates experts to investigators?
Well, I think the expert,
Judge, objection, relevance, I'm not sure. where we're going with this. He's not an expert. He's testifying as his recollection of the events.
Well, I think the discussion is about Brendan Miller's work.
I'm going to sustain the objection. Next question.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to look at defense number 104. Is that yours?
Yes,
And that's with Deputy Chief Bruce?
yes.
Your Honor, I move that in as Defense Exhibit 104.
Any objection?
No objection. We also would not object to 105, as it appears to be page 3 of this same conversation.
Okay, 104 and 105 in evidence.
And sir, you're in the blue, correct?
Yes.
And so your first statement there, what does that mean?
Which,
The first
You're-
statement
can you-
in blue.
I'm sorry, without the microphone, it's very difficult to hear you and understand.
The first statement in blue?
B guided her through B was Brendan.
Oh, so you're recounting her story?
Correct, this is during the proffer.
And is this in the ancillary or
Correct.
the ante room of?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And this is Detective Bruce's statement?
That's Deputy Chief Bruce speaking, yes.
Deputy Chief Bruce, sorry. And did you have any, in your text group, did you have any say in any of the questions that were being asked?
Yeah, so we, in the text group, if there was something we wanted to explore, we would put a question in there, and then Mr. Clingan would either ask the question or not, depending on, his expertise, I guess, as a prosecutor.
Okay. Sir, it looks as though 105 has been admitted to evidence.
Yes, that's correct.
Do you recognize that?
Yes,
Okay, and is this part of the chain of text messages back and forth?
right, it's a continuation of the previous exhibit.
And the discussions in, I guess, the gray is then Deputy Chief Bruce, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then you're in the blue responses?
Yes.
And so these are what you guys are in this, well, tell me what you're talking about there.
So we're recounting some of the stuff that's coming on from the proffer and talking about some of the days leading up to the proffer. And then sort of the response of people who became aware of it.
And the discussions about specific situations, those were your theories going in, correct?
Well, confirming the account that Brendan and Juliana created the account is, yes, part of our theory. And then the revenge rape or was she dead was a question as part of that theory as well.
it looks as though Clingan is a prosecutor, correct?
Yes,
And there was comments about him?
yes.
And what about Kyle and Tommy? Who were they?
That's Detective Bryant and Detective Goodell.
Okay, and those were the two head detectives at the time?
Correct.
And is that just banter between the two of you?
Yeah, it's a text thread between the two of us.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to look at defense number 108. Is that your communication?
Yes.
And who are you communicating with?
Deputy Chief Bruce.
Your Honor, move that in as Defense Exhibit 108.
Any objection?
No, thank you.
108 in evidence and publish.
So it looks like, well, tell me what you're saying here.
In which part?
This part.
I think you just pointed at Deputy Chief Bruce's comment.
Okay, were you part of that?
Yes, I think what it's referring to is where I say this is good, she confirmed that he would send her home a little early from the gym so she could post when he was not in the house, which was confirmation of some of the digital forensics where you could see that Juliana's device and Brendan's device were at the Lifetime Fitness in Reston, and then Juliana would leave, and as her device would leave, as she arrived at the Stablebrook address.
I don't think this is responsive to my question.
All right, you want to ask your question again?
Yes. This area up here, does that indicate that you are still in the room?
Yes,
Okay, so this is while this is going on? Mm-hmm. And the things that you're reporting to Deputy Chief Bruce at the time, are those some of the questions that you were sending in or some of the things that you were trying to get the au pair to say?
I wasn't trying to get her to say anything. We were trying to ask questions to get to the truth.
Okay,
And
and
like
were you asking questions regarding that particular incident you just started wanting to talk about?
So that's something I think that came up. Juliana put that out there without being prompted. But like I said, we can confirm it with the digital evidence, and it was, corroborating what she was saying.
Now, when she confirmed that she created the account, did she tell you what the email address was?
I don't recall.
Did she tell you what the password was?
I don't think so, but I also don't think she specifically said that she created the account. I think that she said Brendan created the account.
Okay. Did she say that she was there when Brenda created?
Objection, calling for hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Was there anyone in the text group asking her or suggesting questions to Mr. Clingan regarding the account platform?
I don't recall.
Was there anybody suggesting questions in what you saw regarding the passwords?
I don't recall. I do remember that Mr. Clingan had a list of, I think, over 100 questions that he hoped to get to. So a lot of that was covered in there.
Do you know what the origin of those questions were?
I think his review of the case, I don't know though.
Okay. What, if anything, did you know about any meetings that Juliana Perez Magalhaes and her attorney had with Mr. Clingan prior to that?
I'm not aware of any, but if it happened outside of my knowledge, I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so it was your impression that she walked in there and
Objection, counsel's testifying, leading.
what was your impression of the interview?
She appeared truthful, and we were able to corroborate a lot of what she said.
Oh, okay. And is that the measure of the truthfulness for you?
I think when you see interviews and conduct interviews over a course of a career, you start to kind of get a feel if somebody's being truthful or not. And one of the ways we do that is corroborate through other evidence.
Okay. Now, with regard to your digital forensics that you did, and forgive me if I've asked you this, but it's something that I want to make sure we cover. Did you ever extract anything from any of the phones or devices, or I think there were 60 of them?
No.
Okay. And I think you'd said that you don't have any problems with the data that was generated from those.
No, as far as I can tell, the data appears to be extracted, in compliance with the industry standards, and as you said, University of Alabama confirmed that.
Okay. So what did you do to determine what the industry standards were and what he did?
I just took what the Detective Miller represented to me and the University of Alabama report.
Okay. So he says this was industry standards and you accepted it?
Yes.
Okay. So there wasn't any real, to inform your conclusions, there wasn't any real investigation.
Objection leading.
Was there any investigation relating to digital forensics that informed the conclusions that you were working from?
I reviewed the data. I don't think I did any quote-unquote digital forensic work. He provides data. In this case, he provided some other reports and summaries, but the data is the data. You can look at it and sort of figure out what it means. And if there was something I didn't understand, I would ask him for help. But it was the analysis, I think, of that data that I thought was problematic.
Okay. Court's indulgence.
All right, yes, sir.
Sir, this is Defense Exhibit 104. I think you've previously looked at it. This particular statement right here on the October 25th, that was when you were still in the anteroom where the recant was happening, correct?
Correct.
And that's a statement that you wrote. Is that what was said?
That's my understanding of what was said. I don't recall the specific wording.
Okay, but you were in the moment and you said that.
Yes, that would be what I understood it to mean.
Okay. Now, did you, I know it was a goal, or I won't say it that way. One of the things, what if any I'm sorry, Judge, strike that.
That's all right.
I want to make sure. Was there anything that occurred in the recant when you were in the ante room that challenged any of the questions that she was asked, or any of the answers that she gave?
I'm not sure what you're trying to ask me, I'm sorry.
Was she challenged on any points in this recant?
You mean, did Mr. Clingan ask her clarifying questions? Yeah, I think so.
Okay, do you remember any of those?
Not offhand, no.
Did, so the people that were in the room, and I can name Detective Bryant?
Detective Bryant, Detective Goodell, Mr. Clingan, I think Mr. Campbell and his co-counsel may have been in there as well, and Juliana.
Okay, and that was it.
I believe so.
Did anyone else, other than Mr. Clingan, ask questions of Juliana Perez Magalhaes?
I don't think so.
Did anybody, if you had a vantage point to see this, did anybody interrupt him to try to get a point across before he asked a question?
I didn't have the ability to monitor the room. I could only video monitor. I could see it on the phone, or got me crossed up there. It was just an open phone line, so I couldn't see anything
I'm
until
sorry.
Afterwards.
So there was no video feed?
No, I couldn't see into the room.
Did you hear anyone challenging like a detective would to what she was saying?
Objection leading.
Sustain is pleading.
What, if anything, did any of the detectives or the prosecutor do relating to issues that came up in the questioning?
I don't remember specifically. I think the plan was for Mr. Clingan to do all the talking from the prosecution side. I don't know that any detectives actually spoke during that proffer. And there were definitely times when he asked clarifying questions, but as to specifics, I'd have to watch the video. It's been quite some time.
Okay, and I guess that brings up another point. Is it unusual in your investigations to have the prosecutor question the cooperating co-defendant versus a detective?
To me, it was a little unusual in a state case. In a federal case, that was standard.
Right, but in federal cases,
Objection, counsel's testifying.
All right. Let's-
there's a little more,
He's still
Take the objection. Next
Okay.
question.
and did you know whether those people in the room could say something, or were they told not to say something?
My recollection is that Mr. Clingan the plan was for Mr. Clingan to do all the talking. I don't recall there was a, specific statement that nobody else should talk, but that was the plan going in.
Were you involved in any sort of a breakout session between the groups, between the recants?
I'm not sure what you're asking me.
Well, there's, and I think it was on your email, there were 2 proffers. And so there was a break between 1 and 2. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I wasn't present for the second one. I had been transferred by then.
Well, no, sorry. There were 2 separate recorded proffers on October 25th. Were you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. And then I think on February 7th, there was another proffer. That's probably what you're thinking of.
Yeah, so in the first proffer, between the 2 sessions, we had food. We had taken Juliana out of the jail prior to her receiving a meal, so we provided her some pizza.
Okay. And then were you there for the second portion?
Yeah, I was in the room next door listening.
and-
Same through the whole time. There was just a break in between.
Okay, so and the break occurred where everybody could join together?
Yes.
Okay, and in that, was there any sort of a discussion amongst the potential questioners that were in the room?
Not that I recall. We kind of scarfed down some food and got back in there because it was starting to get late.
And so it sounds to me like, so Eric Clingan basically controlled the whole process.
Yes.
Was he willing to take input from you?
Yes.
He did? Did he take input?
Yes. Like I said, we had a text group where we, provided questions and, and I kind of remember in some cases we would send a question, but by the time, he kind of finished the thought, he already got to that question. And then there were some times where he asked the question. I don't remember the specifics. I just kind of remember that flow.
Was it ever suggested that she take some sort of a lie detector or anything like that before she would be offered that plea?
Judge, objection. It's not relevant.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Was there any discussion as to how to confirm her veracity by whatever means?
Yeah, so like I said before, we tried to corroborate a lot of what she said through evidence, whether it be digital or documentary. Like, for instance, the windows, we were able to, that was something we had no idea about. And then once the proffer had been completed, we were able to kind of run that down and confirm it.
Now, did you ever say to any of the investigators that they arrested an innocent woman, talking about Juliana?
No.
That was never said by you to anyone?
About me?
By you to anyone?
No. I think what you're probably referring to is I expressed concerns about the articulation of how, the reasons they charged, but I think the charge was solid.
And who was that with that you expressed those concerns?
Detective Bryant.
Okay. Your Honor, I don't have any further questions.
All right, cross-examination.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Okay, so let's talk about this case and how the Fairfax County Police Department Homicide Division got involved. Do you all have a rotation for call-outs when there is a crime committed?
Yeah, so there's what we call a homicide list, and there's, generally about 12 detectives on the squad, give or take, and there's an order, and it kind of rotates through that list so that nobody's overwhelmed with work at any one time.
Okay, so when the call came out for the murder at the Banfield's home, was Detective Bryant essentially on
I
call?
believe he was up for a murder. Again, that was prior to my time there, so
Okay. And so his assignment, you indicated that it's not uncommon for cases to be handled by multiple detectives over the course of the case's life. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay, and in this situation, this case has been pending for 1 month shy of 3 years. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay, so there's nothing really out of the ordinary about multiple detectives having been involved in this case.
not at all.
Okay. Likewise, this was a really big case for Fairfax County homicide, correct?
It created a lot of attention, media attention, so there was a lot of eyes on it.
And there was a huge volume of evidence to go through, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And as such, your leadership was very involved in this matter, making sure that they were up to date on how the case was progressing, correct?
yes.
Okay, so was there anything, again, intended to be hidden from the Commonwealth by making sure your leadership was aware of developments in the case as they arose?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Turning to Ms. Perez-Magalhaes' proffer, you all were working as a team in developing the questions for Ms. Perez-Magalhaes, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and it was simply determined that Mr. Clingan would be the mouthpiece in the room, nothing more, correct?
correct.
Okay. Ms. Frissler was present, as she sits here at the table today. This is Ms. Frissler, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And Ms. Perez-Magalhaes' attorney was present, correct?
correct,
Detectives Goodell and Bryant were present.
correct.
All right, and you were all smushed in a room, is that accurate?
Well, they
good
were
for you.
smushed.
They were
I
smushed,
was
you were
comfortable in
outside.
Ms. Bristler's office.
Okay. Was there room for anyone else in that particular room at the time?
It's a small room, as you know.
Okay, thank you. Her proffer was 2 weeks before her trial, is that correct, Ms.
Yes.
Perez-Magalhaes? And that was more than a month after Mr. Banfield had been charged, correct?
Correct. He was charged September 16th. I believe the proffer was October 25th, about 6 weeks.
So the proffer was not the determining factor in whether or not to charge Brendan Banfield with the murder of his wife and of Joe Ryan, correct?
Correct.
What was it about Ms. Perez-Magalhaes' proffer that you believed made her to appear truthful?
Well, like, so we were able to corroborate through digital evidence that she left the gym. She basically said that
I'm sorry, could you put your microphone on? What's your objection?
Objection to, it's outside the scope of what I've asked. It's an open-ended question as to the investigation, and it's.
I'll overrule the objection. All right, continue.
Please continue.
So she essentially kind of confirmed the sequence of events that I believed occurred. Part of the way we did that was looking at the digital evidence. There were things along the way, for instance, going to the gun range, we were able to see pictures of that. She talked about leaving the gym, that Brendan told her to leave the gym early to go home so that he wouldn't be in the house while the FetLife or Telegram account were active. And we were able to see that on the geolocation of her device and Brendan's device, and then we could see her log or see a log on the Telegram shortly after that device arrived in the area. The windows was something we hadn't had any idea about once she.
When you said the windows, do you mean the replacement of the windows in the Banfield home?
Right, so she said that there was a time where Brendan had the windows replaced with windows that were like soundproof, and he asked her to go stand in the driveway, or actually he asked her to stand in the bedroom and scream while he stood in the driveway to see if screams would be able to be heard. She said that she did not want to do that, and so he screamed and she went outside. We were then able to track down a receipt and some emails, I believe, about the windows, and ultimately find the company and speak with the salesman who spoke to Brendan. And there was just a lot of things that over the course of August until February, in the digital evidence that she was able to corroborate for us in that, or that we were able to corroborate her statement after.
All right, thank you. And just a final question from me, I'm sure council will have more. Did you change, distort, or hide any evidence in this case?
No, ma'am.
Okay, did you direct anyone to change, distort, or hide any evidence in this case?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Nothing further, Judge.
All right, redirect.
Lieutenant Giaccio, you were ordered by the court to turn over evidence that should have been turned over months before during the summer, isn't that correct?
No, I gave everything that I had.
The text messages and the emails that you were seeing here were turned over in July when we had a discovery order in November, isn't that true?
Yes, and that's something that we have never turned over in any other case that I'm aware of. So as soon as the court ordered it, we complied.
Okay, and when you say we, who are you talking about?
Fairfax County Police.
Okay, and so the issues relating to the conflicts in the case were exculpatory evidence, wasn't that correct?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
Sustained. Next question.
Did that ever occur to you that that was something that should have been turned over?
Objection is to the form.
Sustained as to form.
Did the emails and the text messages that you have just witnessed, were they, did that ever occur to you that that was something that should have been turned over on the discovery order?
An objection, Judge, I think we're still on the legal conclusion. He indicated that it was turned over once he received a court order.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Who in your division is in charge of looking to see whether something's exculpatory?
Objection is to relevance.
How is it relevant?
I think the question, this is in response to her question that.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
In terms of the transfers of Brendan Miller, or actually, I think you were involved with the transfer of Kyle Bryant. What was your reasoning behind that?
Well, I gave input, and my input was that I thought he should stay.
And in fact, he was then removed?
Yes, he was ultimately transferred.
Okay. And what was the reason, the October 25th situation?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled if you can answer it.
I think it was a combination of the withholding the proffer for 5 days and, and just being wrong about with the analysis in this case.
You're talking about being wrong after the Juliana Perez Magalhaes proffered.
Well, I think that's when he realized it. I think after that, there was nobody on the police department that I'm aware of that doesn't believe the current theory of events.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, is this witness subject to recall?
No.
Oh, no?
No, ma'am, thank
Okay,
you.
you're free to go, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our afternoon recess of 15 minutes. Don't do any outside research and do not talk to anybody about the case. Thank you. And just a reminder, our next, we were going till 5:30, so keep that in mind on your break, okay?
I'm making a shot.
Come back at 3:50 then?
Yes, ma'am.
3:50, Mr. Carroll?
I'm sorry.
Carry it over.